welcome back to the channel. Today we are tearing down the Maxus 2. When I say this thing is dirty, it is bad, really bad. We hunted in a peanut field with like 30-mile-per-hour winds. There was pretty much, it was like hunting in a sandstorm, and this gun is beyond nasty. The bolt feels like there's sandpaper in it. It will not cycle a shell. So I've done videos of bits and pieces and how to break this down, but basically there's a spring in here. That spring is connected to the back of the bolt, and to get this we had to take it all apart. There's a trick to getting it out, but we're going to start from zero and go. This is how dirty this gun is. I'm going to show you. Look, that's not rust, that is dirt. It looks like I went to a dirt track and was hunting at a racetrack. So let me get some better video of how dirty it is, and we'll start breaking it down. So this choke should never rust, but the dirt on it is packed up. I mean, it is filthy. Look at that. Now that could be a little bit of rust because I do a lot of salt water, but if you can only smell it, there is dirt on the back side of the ribs. Down in here, there's so much dirt. We gotta get this thing cleaned up. All right, first off, we're taking the choke out. Next, we're gonna take this upper magazine tube nut off. It's gonna spin. We're going to take our foregrip off. Here, now the barrel should just slide off. Typically, I will pull that back, lock it in. That should just slide right off. If your piston is dirty, sometimes the piston will come out with it. Piston's not too bad. That's fairly clean. Spring, when you let go, when you push this button, don't let go of the bolt. It's going to come forward. Pull that out. The bolt should come out. Now this gun was cleaned in the field, so it shouldn't be god-awful dirty, but it's pretty dirty. One thing I noticed between the Maxus and a SX4, an SX4 will have a spring here where the Browning is are free floating. I'm gonna push all this out of the way. If you're out in the field, you can use the tip of this to push your pins out. It looked dirtier on the inside when I was just shining the light down in here. But this little round piece will push these pins out. There's your trigger assembly. If the safety wasn't on and you accidentally pulled it, it will be even harder to put back in. So my suggestion is to make sure it stays on safety. If not, you have to manually rack that back and then put it on safety. But I would not dry fire it out without putting my finger on there. That's a lot of force. So down in here, look at that right there. Try to get that up there. This right here is the back of the boat. This is riding in that spring. You can push it in and out. There's so much dirt up in there. So let's continue on cleaning it. So the next step is to go drop these in the cleaner. So let's go do that. So I just have an Amazon, eBay jury cleaner. It does heat up. This is what I use. I use the One Shot Sonic Clean Solution. This is concentrated, so make sure you concentrate on it. But I'm going to turn this on. It will get these parts clean. I usually turn the time up, and I will run it, and then it'll stop. Then I'll pick it up, flop them around, turn it back on. I usually do it 3 or 4 times. So let's leave it. Tell him, Mr. Frog. Alright, hopefully that sonic cleaner in the background isn't picking up. So we need to take the screws out of here. This is going to be a couple pieces in here. You also want to, if you have your gun shimmed, remember which way the shim is going. I got a fat cheek, so my buttstock is turned a little bit this way. So this is important. So let's get the screws out. All right, so those screws were longer than I thought. Mercy. All right, so this is you can see how much dirt is in there. This plate comes out. And then in here, all right, in here, you're going to find a nut. There's going to be a cone washer, a washer, and then a bigger part. You want to mark, I already got it, but you want to mark which way top is. Like, make sure you know that they go in this way, especially the washer. All right, this one is a 1/2 inch. So as soon as I'm taking this off, when I'm taking this nut off, the gap between here is going to get bigger. So pay attention to what you're doing. You definitely do not want to lose out that cone washer. So just going to take this nut off so you can see. There's the nut. Here is the washer. I don't know if the video is going to show it, but it is a cone. It is definitely tapered. You don't want to put it in backwards. You can see how much dirt is on there. There is a lot of grit. And you can see on my fingers here how nasty that is. So again, when you pull this buttstock out, that washer is going to move. So here's that washer. That's the reason why we marked it, because this is the top and it has an A. It does make a difference which way it goes. So I know that I scratched it on this end, so that goes up. Plus that cone washer, you can see that that's tapered, fits in there just like that. If you did it backwards, it doesn't capture the process, because what happens is when you use a shim, you're pushing that buttstock sideways. Well, you can't push a straight bolt sideways. So what happens is this washer on this taper is capturing the angle just like that. So basically that bolt stays that way and the washer is capturing the angle for you. But look at that dirt. It is, I can't even imagine what's going to be in here. So it is pretty bad. So let's get that out of the way. Move on to the next step. All right, so there is a roll pin right here. This is what's keeping the tension on this spring. I'm pretty sure these are called roll pin punches. This punch has a dome shaped at the end. They come in many different sizes, and that dome fits into that roll pin and you knock it out. But you want to capture the spring, so this goes in here like that. That will capture your spring when you knock that pin out. If not, you knock that pin out, this bolt and spring will be on the other side of the room, and I promise you it's going to be dirty. So whatever it's aiming at is going to also be dirty. So let me clean up some space here and I'll get right back to it. Okay, so this is not professionally done. So if you break your gun, that's going to be on you. There we go. All right, so there's the roll pin. So like I said, this is under a lot of tension. The only thing that's holding that spring is this other one that I'm using. Can't remember. It might need to be screwed out. That is correct. So I was wrong. Forgot this one was. It is still spring loaded. So if I put this in here and I take that out, it's not going to go shooting across the room because I forgot it was screw in. It's been a while since I took it apart. So did you see that spring pressure? You can see that there's definitely some wear on this little plastic on the end. I don't know if the camera's going to show it, but one side has worn a little bit more than the other one. So now I'm going to push it in. I'm going to take my capture pin out and I'm going to pull that out. There's a rod in there. This is where it's in the parts cleaner, so I can't show you. This is where the back of the bolt goes. This thing is dirty. Look at that. All that grease. When I tell you that spring is dirty, it is really dirty. Look at the dirt that's up in here. That's just packed dirt, packed lead, all kind of different fragments of old gunpowder. So I'm going to go drop this in that cleaner and get it clean. I'm going to use some brake cleaner to get that. We're going to clean the tube because that's also just creating friction. So I'm going to go drop these parts in the parts cleaner. Now, if you ever wanted to know, right here, you see it's crossways like a T. That is your plug. If you twist that sideways, your plug will come out. That will allow you to get 2 more shells in there. You can also clean behind it. It is spring loaded. Probably needed a different screwdriver. There we go. So here's your plug. With that out, will cost you tickets in waterfowl hunting and dove hunting and probably any other kind of bird hunting. So do as you please. but you can see that there's oil and dirt in it too. We're going to take this cap off. We're going to get that spring cleaned on the inside of it. Alright, you're going to want to push these clips in. And let me tell you, the oil that just came out of there, it's no wonder it feels so gritty. This spring is also extremely oily and dirty. I mean, there's a lot of oil, a lot of extra cleaning over the years. So go throw this in the parts cleaner, but the gun is broke down. Like I said, I didn't catch it on video, but basically these two press in and it comes off. Just to see what this looks like on the inside. This comes that way. It basically comes in and turns, and that keeps it from coming out. So all right, let's get it all cleaned up. All right, so I'm outside. We want to clean down in there. Them two little ports go into the barrel. Them two ports is what makes your gun cycle. And the gun's really dirty. I'm gonna spray some stuff down the barrel, get it all cleaned, and clean this in. Use whatever cleaner you like to use. Same thing for the receiver. I'm gonna get down in there, get all that dirt out. I'm gonna spray it. I'm gonna spray that tube. Definitely spraying that tube. And get it all cleaned up. I've been using this gun a long time. This is probably year number 3. Other than just a little bit of dirt up in the air, I've never disassembled this. I clean it, I spray it out, and very little oil, and she seems to always work. So I don't recommend taking that apart at all. Now there is a rubber seal in there, so you do want to protect that. Alright, don't forget to clean your springs. Alright, this means it would be fired up against the firing pin. The bolt would come back, lock that in. Like I said, if it's out, you do not want to fire that without having your finger there. It's a lot of pressure with no resistance. But I cleaned it out, put very little oil there, wiped up any extra oil. I oiled all that. I oiled here, wiped it up, got all these pieces good and clean. Like I said, I do not take that apart. This is year 3 or 4, something like that. So, all right, well, let's get back to putting it all together. All right, so this is the rod. So we're gonna put the spring back on that. It's got a little dention right there. That's what holds it in. Push that baby back up in there. Now remember, it's spring loaded, so wear safety glasses. Alright, so I got my 2 roll pin dials again. I can't remember which one. I think that was it. Yep. So what I want to do is I want to push this in, but also capture the spring. So put it in, capture the spring, push, capture the spring until I get it all the way in there. It definitely gets harder the more you do it. So I'm going to capture that spring. That leaves a little bit out. I'm going to get this ready. So I cleaned all that, cleaned this. So what I want to do is push this in and capture that even more. But I need my flathead screwdriver. I'm going to call for extra hands. Sweetie! Sweetie! I need some extra hands. Could you be so greatly to push this in that hole when I get? All right, push it in there. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh, she's nice on camera. We got a snicker out of her too. She knows it's true. So I'm going to use this Lucas oil, gun oil. I'm just going to put a drop on here, just for some extra protection, some lubrication on them threads. Now this is the hole that goes right here, right there, that the roll pin goes through. So you got to screw this in all the way until that is completely lined up. And that is some fine thread. All right, I'm going to pause. Well, we can see. Let me zoom in. All right. Still going here. That is pretty close. Let's look at it. Maybe just a half. If you see one side right there, you see how it's not completely circled. So maybe if I could get a half. Kind of hard to do and hold the camera and everything else. All right, now that looks better. Right there, look at that. That's pretty much centered. So now I can pull this capture pin out and push that back in. All right, so we're going to put this roll pin back in. I didn't go all the way yet, because you can still adjust that pin a little bit, because what's going to happen is you got two sides. See, right there is not. Got to get it in there just right. So we're going to keep tapping it in. Probably would work better with a brass hammer, but you know, that's what I got. Now I'm not going to go all the way with it, because I don't want to hit this metal with the hammer. So I'm going to get my roll pin punch back. And remember, keep looking at your progress, because if you just like here, you're not going to be able to see, and you can continue to push it through the other side, which defeats the purpose. Piece of 2x4 probably would work better than a roll of tape, but this is what I got. That is completely flush. Maybe just a hair too far. Feel a little lip right there. I don't think it really mattered, but I'm going to self adjust that back just a hair. Remember, there's two ways. This is the beating end. This is the point end. Mo better. Alright, remember, if you took your shim out, put it back correctly. I did not take mine out. Mine is still facing the correct way. Might need that. Alright, here's the... I'm glad it fell out, because it is super dirty. I forgot to clean this. Now remember, I marked it. So let me go clean this piece off. Alright, so there is a tube in here. It's a little plastic tube. I took it out and cleaned it. It will only go one way. So There we go. We're going to put our pieces back in here. Using a vise would be awesome, but I don't own one, so this is where that you can see. No, you can't see. Now you can see. All right, so this is where this is slotted for if you got normal shooter, really fat cheek, skinny guy, short guy, tall guy. So this is what that moves around. So that is where this piece and that washer come together. So when you crank down on it with that shim, all this is going to line up. Remember, this washer has an angle. It goes one way. Remember, I marked it T for top. Mark this one so that they line up. Now just put the nut on it. So obviously you don't want no gap here. I don't have it tightened, but you can see where it's loose. We want to tighten that up. Now there's no gap. You can see here where this washer is lined up. Everything's tight. Everything's moved together. And I loosened the bolt up just to prove a point here. So mine is skinnier on this side, fatter on this side, because I got a fat cheek face. So it pushes the gun this way. Remember, skinny guy would be kind of straight. Fat guy. So look right here. So with the nut on there, you can see how much that can move. That is why it is slotted. All right, put this piece back in. Put this back on and screw forever. So while I'm screwing this screws in, I'm not going to record it because it's going to take forever. I haven't screwed it together yet, but this piece here is for your length of pull. Short guys would not have that. Taller guys would. Possibly regular guys who have long arms would need that. But this changes your length of pull. Now with waterfowl guns, you need to measure that with your jacket on for winter time. Dress like it's 15 degrees outside, because when you go to put on 3 t-shirts and a jacket, you may not need a full shim. All right, it's time to put the spring back in the magazine tube. Remember, cap goes like that. You're going to need this piece and that piece and that piece. So this is going to go in there like this. I'm not going to push that down yet because it goes washer and then this cap, because what that does is it gives that spring something to sit on in there like that. So when you push this through, it also has something to sit on here so that it don't get caught up in the spring. So go ahead and put that washer in there. Get her flat. have fun putting this back in. Remember, safety glasses, gloves, protection first. Look for your surrounding others. Sweetie, you safe over there?
I'm safe.
Okay. So I'm going to put that spring in. My washer jumped around. Ta-da! Remember, put this back in. Don't be stupid. That right there ain't worth a ticket. So I'm going to put it in. It goes in. And then twist sideways. There you go. Plus sign. Probably could have used a better screwdriver, but there you go. Alright, time for the trigger assembly. Now, what I found is, I go to put it in. This end usually goes in pretty easy. And I'm like, man, this thing's kicking my butt. Why ain't it going in? Right there. You need to put in, you need to push in your, what button is that called? You need to push in that button. Brain went blank. So you see it won't go. Watch. It drops right in. Wow. Amazing. Pins go in. Doesn't matter which way. They both have well, I can show you. They both have just kind of like the old Remingtons. Let's get it in there. So there's like an E clip. I don't really think it's a C clip. It's more like an E clip. But that is what goes in between these slots. Don't want to pull that out for sure. Trying to show y'all. There we go. So that is what stops it. It wouldn't have came out inside the gun. But you got one here and one here. It doesn't matter. If you push it in this way, that clip's going to get it on that end. Or if you do it this way. That style's been around for a long time. A lot of the old Remingtons would wear out that clip and the pins would just fall out. A lot of times just replacing that will do the trick. Sometimes replacing these will do the trick. But I haven't seen that on the Browning. So, line your holes up. You need your brass hammer. There you go. The pins are in. So next would be the bolt. Now with the bolt, I am going to lubricate this little rail and then the rail in there. I also put a little bit of oil in here and in here. This is all nickel plated on the Maxus 2. The SX4 is not nickel plated, I believe. It's a different coating, but I think they do make a Cerakote that goes on the SX4 and it's different. But like I said, I know the SX4 has a spring. The firing pin is also nickel plated, but if you look way down in there, right there, not sure if you're going to see it or not, I was shooting steel in salt water. Some of the steel and blow-by got on that firing pin and rusted. I cleaned it the best I can, but that's been like a year and a half. I am not going in there to take all that apart just to clean that firing pin. But like I said, this is a free floating firing pin. Why does it not have a spring? Have no clue. Why does the SX4, which is the exact same bolt, have a spring? Also have no clue. Would like to know what y'all think about that. But basically, when you go boom, well, let's do it real. It goes boom. This comes backwards, grabbing the shell, and spits it out. So when it's coming back in, the bolt locks. That's how it looks, just like that. Let's get it in the gun. So I'm gonna take just a little bit, put it on this right there. Now I typically don't use rim oil because it seems to sometimes freeze. You definitely want something that is not going to freeze in really cold temperatures. You don't need a lot, a drop will do you, because if you're going to be back in the marshes and hunting, you're going to get dirty again. You're going to need to get this little ball cup in that rod cup. So sometimes it's kind of hard to see. I got my flashlight on. We're going to see if we can get it on camera. I'm not 100% sure we are. I don't care how hard you're going to push. This bolt will not go back in there until you push this button. Look at that. You see it drop? Now I can push it back. Let's do it again. All right, see it's out. Watch. There you go. That's free advice right there. There's many times that I've done that without pushing that in and wondering what in the world's going on. But here we go. I'm not letting go of that because I don't want that slamming without the barrel on it. But see, now I went too far. See, I just told y'all. So now it won't go back without me pushing that bolt release. So all right, let's get the barrel on. All right, so putting the barrel back on, we're gonna get everything ready. You need this first. You don't put this on, the gun will not cycle. It will shoot, it will not cycle. This pin goes on this side. That's what pushes the bolt backwards. Then your piston. What I like to do is put that there and push my piston down so it holds it while I put the barrel on. Just like that. Now, one thing about it, let me zoom in real quick. If you look right here, you're going to see rust. I do a lot of saltwater hunting. It's on both sides. That is coming from this, you can see it right here, the plastic just rubbing on that gun. Even though it's tight, the plastic's moving. So if you do a lot of saltwater hunting, you're going to want to coat that with a little bit of oil when you do your cleaning. Because you will hear it when we slide this on. It will rub right there. So if you're cleaning your gun a lot, especially if it's not a Cerakote gun and you're doing the blue barrel, that right there, cleaning it, you're gonna wear that paint off, or the blue off, or the camouflage, or whatever. Now I'm gonna put just a little bit of oil right here for my end cap. And we're going to tighten it down. Now what you should see is these two come together. Typically I would stand the gun up and then tighten it, but I can't do that on camera because I can't zoom out far enough. But I would push them together and clip some more. You shouldn't have a massive amount of gap right there. All this should come together. Now that it's together, your bolt should be closed. Now earlier when I didn't have that in there, you saw the bolt was further up in there. It's because the barrel wasn't in there. Now this button is flush. Earlier it was sticking up a little bit, just like that. So now you know she's locked and she's loaded. Well, technically she ain't loaded. It's empty. Alright, so getting over here to your chokes. Now what I like to do, I like to put some down the side here, down in the threads, because what's going to happen is you're going to want to lube up everything you can, get all them threads good. I typically run it in, run it out, wipe the excess oil off. This right here, especially in salt water, use some good oil. Use some kind of anti-seize, because if she gets stuck in there, it ain't no, you're gonna fight to get that choke out. Now like I said, I typically only shoot kick chokes. Kicks has been really good to me, sponsor of the channel, so I make sure all that's good and clean. You should be able to spin your choke in like that. If you can't spin it in, there's a couple of reasons. One, it's dirty. Two, your barrel could be bulged. Three, your choke could be bulged. But you should not have to fight to get your choke out. You should be at, that's all the way out. That's just starting the threads. Watch. I mean, it should be that easy that it goes in there like that. Now, I'm not shooting an extra full. I just got that up here. I typically, because I shoot bismuth and TSS, I am using mod and improved cylinder. So there you go. And y'all might say, why is it a she? Because she's the queen of my double wide trailer with the polyester curtains and the redwood. Alright, after cleaning it, make sure you go and test it before you go out into the woods or hunting. You don't want to get out there and forgot you messed something up and it goes click. Alright, the only time I ever use this feature, they call it a speed load feature. But we're going to load it up. And we send in all three of them. Let's do it. That causes cancer in California. All right, some of you can be like, I can't believe you did that to a Browning Maxus. I hunt with this gun. This is a working gun. Two, you need to know how to break it down when you're in the field. Your gun jams, you're in the duck blind, you're in the duck club or the shack, and you need to tear it down. Yeah, I could have rolled it out on a rollout mat. I could have done it nice and clean. Now, if this was a Maxus that had the wood grain and the just for dove hunting, skeet hunting, totally, completely different. I would have treated it completely different. This gun, if you watch any of my channel, it goes in with me hunting in a kayak. It gets beat around. For the most part, I truly enjoy the Maxus 2. Had a little bit of complaints about it at the very beginning, jamming, but that was mostly here. If you never watched that video, the problem was this was not centered, and you can see I'm pushing on it. It was dragging on one side. I think Browning fixed that problem like that. See, I was it was dragging on one side. That's what happened to the gun. It was dragging, and then you come in there and I adjusted it. Perfect. What happened was it was dragging, throwing the speed off. The gun was jamming. So, all right, y'all stay safe. Hopefully that did you some good. I don't know too many videos that show how to clean that spring. So if you do your Maxus and it's not a working hunting gun, take more precaution, put some protection down, use a brass hammer, safety glasses, and that's about it. So y'all hit that subscribe button, and I'll see y'all next time. Get out there, use your gun. This ain't no safe queen. She gets abused. So we'll see y'all next time.